Here we go. This is it, episode 74. That's right, 74. NoLaughTrack, Acme's podcast. Thanks to Circle of Heat, as always, for letting us play their music at the beginning there. If you haven't yet, like us on Facebook, follow us on NoLaughTrack, is on Twitter, and if you go to iTunes, leave a review. But now let's get on to the good stuff here. I have a guest, and it's Jay Larson.
What's up, man?
What's up?
Circle of Heat.
Circle of Heat.
It's a great name.
Be careful when you enter the Circle of Heat.
No, they don't say that, do they?
No. Do you know who Circle of Heat is? A local band?
I imagine it's a local band, but...
Comedian is in that band.
Oh, really?
Trevor Anderson. Maybe you'll meet at some point.
Very cool.
Yeah.
There's always that crossover between comics and music that I never had, and I came from a musical family. I wish I had. I get so jealous. I'm like, man, I wish I played drums as a... You know what I mean? You're not going to, can't bring drums to, a camping event with buddies. You know what I mean? You can't, let me just bring some of the rim shots while around the fire. You know?
But I'll be honest, when you do a good one-liner, do you hear that?
Never. I don't do any one-liners. I couldn't do one if you paid me to.
You ought to throw it in.
I'll try. I'll work it out.
So, Jay, welcome back to Minneapolis.
Thanks, man.
As we were talking, you've been here before. You love the city.
I love the city. It's fantastic. Last time I was here, I rented the bikes, rode around, went to a Twins game.
It's amazing how many comics are doing those bikes here.
Well, it's the best, man. I mean, I did in Minneapolis as well, and I was just talking, we had Bill Burr on our podcast, and he told me he did it in Boston, and it's just awesome, man. I think people underestimate, when you live in a city, I mean, I'm a big bike rider. I don't know about you. I ride bikes. My wife and I got us both bikes, and we just cruise places in our neighborhood.
I own one. Don't use it enough.
Yeah. It's the best, man. Knowing when you can get some A to B and you don't have to rely on anything but you and your bike, okay? It sounds like a kid's book. But it's the best, you know? You just no traffic. You lock it up outside the door of the place. You're not looking anywhere to park. It's the best.
Billy and his bike. How was it's Wednesday. How was the show last night?
Show was fun, man. It was good. We're sitting on the stage. For those of you who listen to the podcast, you know that. Of other people, I don't know if you do, but I had two people right here that were very annoying. And I just didn't address them. And, back in the back, they don't know what's going on with these two people over here, you know? Right. And I just kept, plowing through them. I'm not going to say anything. At one point, I talked to her because I'm sometimes you just give them a little attention, they'll shut up.
Yeah.
And she didn't. But they weren't, heckling. They were just, it was ridiculous, you know? They just wanted attention. And then I said something to one guy. This was, 15 minutes in. And he made a joke in reference to a joke that I made. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, cool, man.
Uh-oh.
And then now it's So now I do one of my best jokes. They're talking through the whole thing. And then this girl over here finally goes, shh, she was so pissed. And then I looked over after the joke and I just said something. The guy said the same joke he said before.
Uh-oh.
And then I just started shredding this guy.
Yeah?
Oh, my God. Him and his girl. And no one over here in the back is laughing or they're getting uncomfortable. You know what I mean? And I'm like, you guys haven't been listening to everything that's been going on. I turned to her that shushed. And I'm like, how long have they been talking? She's like, the whole show. And I'm like, so now do you guys know why I'm shredding these guys for just being you're a dumb human being. And the guy goes, what? And I go, bro.
No.
And he had a neck tattoo, but he was he looked like a distinguished gentleman. He had a scarf on and stuff. You know what I mean? He's rocking a scarf.
Whoa.
Anyway, I shredded them for a while, which felt good. But then everyone else was Midwest, oh no, why is he being mean to them? And I was like, you guys haven't been listening because you can't hear him in the back. This guy's been a total J.O.
What European country was he here from?
He wasn't European with the scarf. I know.
One of his kids play for the Wild or something?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly. I know.
What the hell?
We had two Finn kids transfer to my school senior year in high school, and they both lived with the hockey coach and played on the hockey team, and they were nasty. Do you remember Tepu Numanim?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
His younger brother, Timu. We had Timu Numanim playing in our high school. Our high school team went to the state quarterfinals, and two kids were off the boat. I think he's Swedish, maybe. Anyway, whatever. I digress.
You were, I want to, well, first, I do want to get to what we were talking about briefly before we started, but you brought it up, your podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Crab Feast, Crab Feast.
The Crab Feast.
I listened to the most recent one that you mentioned, Bill Burr.
Yeah.
You have a new listener.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I honestly, sincerely loved it. It was really, really good.
It was great for us to have Bill on. He's so funny,
I'm a huge fan of his, so
Me
that probably
too.
helped.
Me too. I get annoyed at people when they don't know who Bill Burr is. I'll be like, oh, my God. And I'm just like, I go, are you a comedy fan? They're like, yeah, I love comedy. I'm like, no, you're not. You don't know anything.
No.
You have to know this guy because he's the best.
I used to describe him, the best way to do it was, you remember the episode of Chappelle where they had a white guy on?
Yeah, I know, right?
He was the white guy.
And it wasn't Christian Finnegan.
Yeah, not Christian Finnegan. That's right. The redhead.
Yeah, so we had Burr on the podcast. It's called The Crab Feast. You can check any information about at thecrabfeast.com, and it's on iTunes, Stitcher, and you can also listen to it. We do a post every week. It comes out every Tuesday.
Yep.
Every Tuesday. And you can go to our link on our website and listen to it. You don't have to download iTunes or anything. But it's myself and Ryan Sickler. We do it. Anyway, yeah, we just had Burr on. We've had a lot of great comics. A lot of them that have come through here. And we just do like conversational storytelling. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. You said you talked to Jackie Cation recently.
Yeah.
Somebody's been on this podcast.
Yeah. For October, we did breast cancer awareness, and we donate all of our money to breast cancer awareness. So we do all female guests.
Oh, wow.
And we had Jackie, Anna Faris, Jen Kirkman, Erin Foley, who's also a hilarious comedian. She's more of a dude than I am, I think. But yeah, it was great. We had a great month, and it's a great podcast, so you guys should check it out.
As I was sitting in my car listening yesterday, I was... I wrote, no, I wasn't in my car writing down notes. I remembered these things that I was going to bring up as if I was part of that podcast. So and people won't know really what I'm referring to, so they're going to have to listen themselves.
Sure.
My first job, I was in 5th grade, was also a paper route.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
5th grade. And not only, the big significance of that is that in 5th grade, I delivered the paper. That was back in St. Paul. They had an afternoon version of the newspaper.
Jesus.
I delivered the afternoon version. Here's two weird things about this.
Back in the day, they did that a lot, huh?
Yeah, one of the papers I delivered was the day the Challenger space shuttle exploded.
Wow.
So that, obviously wasn't
That's
in the morning paper,
day.
but was in the afternoon paper, so I ended up saving one. I still have it.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
I think that's really cool. The guy that we ended up, because I was at school, was too young, so I didn't do the morning paper. The guy who did the morning paper route is now a Major League Baseball umpire.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mark Wegner from St. Paul. One of my neighbors.
What's up, Wags?
Yeah.
Hey, Wags.
Yeah.
Hey, Blue. What's up, Blue?
He just worked the World Series.
Did he? Did he blow any of those calls? Has he blown a call lately? Let's get on him about it.
You know what? If you remember a few years ago, there was when Lou Piniella was managing the Cubs, he got in a huge dust-up with a third base.
Dust-up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is
Yeah.
when they start kicking. That's hilarious.
Yeah, and Mark was the ump.
You got to get him on, man.
Piniella was arguing with. I should.
Get him on the podcast.
I really
hilarious.
should. And then the other thing I want to mention about the Crab Feast, we played Smear the Queer in St. Paul.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that was one of Rye's things. They grew up playing it.
Yeah.
So crazy. Rye talks about it. Those of you that are getting offended right now with that word in general, he used to be like, Rye says his dad would be like, get in here, time to come in for dinner. He's like, but I'm the queer, Dad. Like, he's like, all you want to do is you want to be the guy with the football. You want to be the queer.
Just like he said on your show, I had no idea that we were making this horrible, this horrible word. Had no clue
at all.
No clue. So let's do the real quick. Where did you started doing comedy? Where?
I started in L.A.
You started in
I
LA.
moved to L.A. in 2000 from Boston. I wanted to act and write and didn't even know I was going to do stand-up. Although I went back and found an own file in my computer, and it was like stand-up routine. And it was like going bowling. It was like all this weird stuff. I'm like, what? Did I really want to be a comic? And then, like, people were like, I used to wait tables, and people were like, you're really funny. Are you like a comedian? And I was like, no. And, like, one of the girls I work with overheard that, like, 3 times in 1 week. And she comes up to me. She goes, I know a guy that runs a show, and he can put you up if you want to do comedy. And I'm like, I don't want to do comedy. And she's like, you should do it. You should really do it. And my boy, Tony Jones from Eden Prairie, used to do stand-up in Minneapolis. I go to him and I go, hey, man, I might try stand-up. What do I need to do? And he goes, just have 5 minutes ready.
Yeah.
You need 5 minutes. Go there. And I go, what am I going to talk about? He's like, I don't know. And I went home and I wrote like 5 minutes.
Bowling, obviously.
Bowling, man. Toilet paper. And I took it to him and I'm like, what do you think? And he's like, yeah, it's great. Go for it. And that was that.
Do you think he meant it was great? Just like,
no, it was pretty
just
good.
Going, no, freaking do it. Just do it.
I mean, this is how it went. I go to the club. It wasn't a club. It was this room in Hollywood called Dublin's. You remember that Biggie Small song when you go bubbling at Dublin's? Anyway, that was Dublin's.
Okay.
And Jay Davis, who used to open for Dane, ran this room.
Yeah, I know what that is, yeah.
And he ran it with Ahmed, who's on Sullivan & Son and a funny comic. And And my friend knew Ahmed. So I go up to him. I go, hey, man, I'm friends with Vanessa. And he goes, oh, hey, man. I go, yeah, Vanessa said you could put me up tonight. And he's like, dude, I can't put you up tonight. And I'm like, oh, well, you think like I could come next week and do it? And he goes, well, you got a tape? And I was like, nah, man, I don't have a tape. And he goes, well, where else do you perform? Like, who else do you perform with? And I'm like, well, I've never done, this would be my first time. And he's like, oh, dude, this is not the room for you, man. This is all professionals. And I go, bro, tell me whatever you need me to do from this week till next week, and I'll do it if you'll put me up. And he goes, all right, go do as many open mics as you can. Come back next week. I'll give you 5 minutes up top. And I was like, all right. I went to one open mic the night before, tanked, did 3 minutes, showed up there. It's like 150 people. Dane Cook closed the show. I think Colin Quinn was on the show. Wow. I went first, had a really good set, and then they were like, come back next week. And then I just started going every week. And then it tapered off a little bit. Yeah. I just thought you had to write new material every single week. So every week I would go with a brand new, fresh 5 minutes. Yeah. I didn't know that people worked on material. I just thought before doing stand-up, I saw Bill Cosby when I was 10, and then I saw Chris Rock when I was 21. And then the next time I was actually in besides that open mic was the night I did stand-up. So I never studied it. Like I wasn't a comedy fan growing up.
Wow.
I love comedy, but it was more like sitcom and movies and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, a lot of comics, they're like, oh, my God, I've seen so-and-so. I didn't know. I opened for Brian Regan in 2005, and my manager called me. He's like, hey, man, you're going to open for Brian Regan. I was like, okay. And he goes, do you know who Brian Regan is? And I was like, nah, man. And he's like, Jesus Christ, dude. He goes, you have no idea? It was the
Ask any other comedian.
Yeah, ask people who know about comedy, Jay. And so, like, I've literally, like, learned as I went. I liked it, though, because my voice I felt was original, you know what I mean? Yeah. I didn't really know what other people were doing, you know what I mean? People are always like, oh, dude, Pryor, live from the Sunset Strip. And I'm like, oh, yeah, was that good? But, over the time I've learned more and stuff.
What about, like, Eddie Murphy Delirious? Never caught that one?
That was the other one.
Yeah.
When I was, like, 11, my mom ran a dance camp, okay? So I had to go stay at Wheaton College out in Springfield, Mass, and go to this dance camp for the summer.
Uh-huh.
I didn't dance. I just hung out the whole summer, me and my brother, and we were just, like, on campus. And there was also the San Francisco Boys Choir was there, okay? If the dance camp wasn't feminine enough, now we got the San Francisco Boys Choir.
No fraternizing with the Boys Choir.
No, I hung out with those kids. They were like who I would kick it with. They were like, who are these two kids from Boston that are just running around campus, you know? And so when they would go to, they had classes all day, I would just sit in their room, and one kid had Eddie Murphy Delirious, and I just listened to it on, the cassette, and I was just like, what is this? So it went Chris Rock, Bill Cosby, Eddie Murphy, Chris Rock. Only black comics I listened to.
I was going to say, well, good. Surprised you didn't come out like, yo, yo, yo.
Yo, 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 yo.
This is my act.
I do some stuff on black women, but... That was my intro to comedy.
That was your intro to comedy. I was reading the paper last night. There's I want to get your thoughts on this.
Give it to me.
There is a business that is closing in Minneapolis. Today is their last day. Officially closed, at 4 or 5 o'clock today. It's called Rusty Quarters.
Rusty Quarters?
Yeah. What kind of business is Rusty Quarters?
Either it's some janky hotel chain. You know what I mean? Like quarters, as in your bunk. You know?
Yeah.
Rusty Quarters. I have no idea. What is it?
It's an arcade.
Oh, and that's too bad.
It's a good name for an arcade. For an old timey. They have the 80s.
Yeah, well, that's the only ones you want. Who wants to go to an arcade and play modern stuff? Why are they closing? First of all, why are they closing at 5? You should be open till midnight and starting to get those potheads that are out trying to
open at 11, close at 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's too bad. Maybe
I've never been there. I'd never heard of it. Never been there. I just thought I love that name, and it sounds like it could be.
It could be a lot of things.
A lot of different.
What I'd like to do is go there and get the Miss Pac-Man machine and take it home with me.
I'm here for the Rusty Quarters.
Not to play. I just want any Rusty Quarters you got.
Exactly. And then on the drive over here, I drove past. This sounds like I'm setting up a joke.
No.
Yeah, the drive over here.
Yeah,
no, this really happened. And maybe you can help explain this to me. Homeless people with dogs.
It's a tough call. I just feel bad for that damn dog. They think that. Although you know what, a dog should. What's the big deal? You know what I mean? A dog should be in the wild anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We've just kind of But I don't know. Everybody needs companionship. I don't have a dog. Do you have a dog?
No.
Everyone that I know that has a dog, do you ever see dog owners in a bad mood? Every single day they get this little thing that's like, hey man, you're the best.
That's
you know
true.
What I mean? You always feel like it. So a homeless dude.
When you're scrounging for your next meal, though, who gets that next meal?
Well, I know, man. Well, that's the thing.
Then you're picking, is it my best buddy that's getting this,
But where are we drawing lines here? Because how many dogs are in a pound that are going to get killed today? How many are going to get killed today in this country because of, no one's taking care of it? So at least he's taking care of it. And people are like, oh, it's home. You know what's my favorite dog?
What's that?
Two-legged dog.
Two-legged dog.
You ever see a dog whose back legs don't work and they put it on the little cart, the little wheel cart?
Yeah.
That's the happiest dog in the world because he's just like, dude, look at this, bro. Legs didn't work. Now they're working.
There is a website called Tripods.
Okay.
TRY. Do you know about this?
Is it three-legged dogs?
Three-legged dogs.
Okay. I saw a guy walking a three-legged dog once, no leash, and I was like, come on, bro. Give him some self-esteem. Put the leash. Let him know there's a chance he'll run away. You know what I mean? I just was like, what are you doing? I don't mind, and people get sensitive. People get sensitive real quick about dogs. Mm-hmm. They just hear you say something about dogs and they tense up.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's the thing. They give off so much love and they don't do anything wrong,
We read a story this morning in the morning show. The actress, oh my God, now I can't. Kristen Bell, Dax Shepard's wife, Dax and Kristen. She was making some comment about how when she was pregnant, now I guess they have a baby. Is
this the chick from Saving Sarah Marshall or Surviving Sarah Marshall?
Yeah, that one.
Okay, I didn't know she was married to Dax Shepard.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right?
Interesting. My buddy used to date her for a while.
Oh.
I didn't know
that. She was saying about how she was worried she wasn't going to love her unborn baby when it came out as much as she loves her dog. She was very concerned. I don't know if that's something you want to say and have people record it and play it back to you.
I know, but you know what? I'm just so... Have you ever thought of, if you think of everything that your mind thinks unconsciously, you know what I mean? You don't control your brain. It has thoughts. Now, whether or not you say the things that you're thinking is another story, but, I'm sure she said it in jest. But at the same time, that kid's going to have insecurities anyway,
You know what? I'm in a position that I want to bag on her because I rented the movie she did with her husband and Tom Arnold a year ago.
You said enough. You said Tom Arnold. That's enough. I know it's horrible.
Yeah, I want my money back.
Yeah.
So instead, I'm just going to go, oh, no, you're wrong for saying that thing about your unborn kid.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if we're even yet. Have I got my $3.99 back yet for that rental?
Can I get that rental back? $3.99. It's a good price, man.
I don't know. So, what was the living growing up? You were saying off before we started recording. Who was in the house?
It was me, my brother, my two sisters, and my mom. So it was just the five of us. But then my mom would work full time, so we'd come home and my Nana would be there, or her sister, my Aunt Rue, my great Aunt Rue, or her other sister, my great Aunt Gert. So I lived in Stoneham, Mass. My Nana and my aunts lived in Reading, Mass. And my grandmother lived in one house, and Auntie Gert and Auntie Rue lived in the house next door.
Oh, boy.
You know what I mean? So, and then my grandfather, my Nana's husband, died when I was 5, so it was pretty much all those chicks. I was just around chicks constantly. Well, they were old.
Right. Wait, before you get into anything else here, the food, were they all cooks?
Yeah, oh yeah. My Nana, everybody cooked. Everyone had a specialty, too. My Nana... She used to crush. She'd make her. So she was half. Her dad was off the boat Italian, and her mom was off the boat Irish, and so my Nana made a crush gravy or sauce.
Yeah.
So her spaghetti meatballs was dope, and we'd be waiting for my mom to get home from work some days, and you'd be like, "Nana, I'm stuffing," and she'd go, "Get over here," and she'd take a piece of white bread, dunk it in sauce, just dip it right in, pull it out, and put it on a plate. You just eat it with a fork, and it was the best,
I'll
man.
Take that right now.
Yeah, oh yeah, me all day. And then. My Aunt Rue, me and my brother both had braces, so we had to go into Boston to get our braces done. So at Tufts University because we didn't have money, so we had grad kids doing our teeth pretty much.
Oh, I know that. Oh boy.
So I remember my Aunt Rue would pick us up at school. I'd be in 5th grade, and she'd pick us up, take us to the T. We'd take the T into Boston, get our teeth done, come back, and we'd go around she'd pick us up around 10:30, 11. Go in, we'd get back by 1 or something like that and get the end of school, but we'd miss lunch, so she'd bring us these grilled chicken sandwiches that were they'd still be warm when she got there with some mayo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but we just got our teeth tightened, man. So your teeth are killing, but you want to house this sandwich and it's getting caught in your braces, but it was still amazing. And Auntie Gert made the best Rice Krispie squares of all time. She knew how to do it perfect.
Nothing on top, just
straight up, bro.
Yeah.
crispy but chewy. You know what I mean? Real good chew content.
Nice.
And then they all lived to be super old. So Auntie Gert was 98. Auntie Rue was 100.
Holy.
My Nana was 88. And then my grandfather's sister, my Aunt Lil, who was also around a lot. She lived in Revere, though, but she ended up moving in, living with my mother for 2 years, and then assisted living place for 2 years in our town. She lived to 102. And then Auntie Rue, my Nana, and Auntie Gert's brother, my Uncle Ray, he lived to 99.
Holy crap.
So we had a lot of old timers around. Yeah.
Well, did any of the sense of humor come from being around all these women?
Well, my Uncle Ray, yeah, I mean, a little bit. My mom's pretty funny. We never tell her that. You know what I mean? Because she always, when you're a single woman raising 4 kids, you're going to want some attention. You know what I mean? Because all she could do is give attention to the kids because that's what you're supposed to do. But she's probably starving for some.
Sure. So
she'd always tell stories that happened at work, and then she'd be like, "And they all roared." So, even if we don't laugh, we're not even giving her credit for the humor, and she has to tell us they all roared, and they probably do. You know, my mother probably crushes with her friends, and we're all like, "God damn it, here she is talking about herself again. Would you give me some attention, Ma?" There just was not enough attention to go around in our house. But yeah, she was funny. My mom's pretty sarcastic. Sarcasm's a big Boston thing. And my grandfather on my dad's side was really sarcastic. I think I remember the first time I ever saw sarcasm, I think I was 4. People like, you can't remember anything after 4 or before 5, whatever. Yeah. And I was sitting on his lap. He was a baker. He owned a bakery. And he had this house up in the water, and it was all glass, looking out at the water. And he'd come out at 3 because he was sleeping baker's hours, you know. And he'd come out in boxers and a white T-shirt. He's a big Swedish guy with white hair. And I remember him coming out and picking me up, and I'm sitting on his lap, and he made this joke, and all the adults laughed. But I'm sitting there what is it? I don't get it because I didn't get what sarcasm was. Right. And I remember the first time just staring at him, being like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "Oh wait, this is some kind of some humor is happening here. Something's happening here comedically."
He's being mean.
Something's going. No, one time I told this on the Burr podcast. Maybe you heard it, but when I had my brother's paper route and sisters, they were in the Thanksgiving Day halftime show.
Yeah.
And I had to do the paper route, but that was the grandfather. Basically, for you guys at home, I was doing the paper route on Thanksgiving Day, which is full of inserts, as you may know, for Christmas. And I snipped the inserts, and I forgot something inside, and I went inside and came back out, and they had blown all over the everywhere. And I just was I started running around picking up as many as I could, and it just was insurmountable. Yeah. It was bigger than me. Yeah. I wasn't going to accomplish. I was I've lost. You know what I mean?
I'd rather shit my pants in 5th grade.
Yeah, just all I could do was cry. You know, and I started bawling. And my grandfather pulls in because he was at the bakery getting leaving the bakery. There was a town over, and he swung through, and he got out of his car, and he saw me, and it was the funniest thing he'd ever seen in his life. He couldn't stop laughing. And I remember storming past him and going up to my room and crying. And then him coming upstairs and being like, "Come on, I'll drive you." But I hope I'm like that, because how can you not? It's hilarious.
Yeah.
This kid's just crushed, thinking this is the biggest thing he's never going to get over in life. And here's this guy, 70 years old, being like, "Oh my God, this kid has no idea. This is nothing.
This is nothing. I've seen it all."
Yeah, exactly.
So he was the baker.
Yeah.
That's I still have somewhere a sheet of paper back when I was a kid where it said what's your favorite color? What would you like to do? What do you want to be when you grow up? Yeah. I put baker.
Really?
At one point. I wanted to be. I don't know why. I didn't know any bakers.
Yeah.
Maybe I just like sweets. I don't know.
Listen, I don't know, but I really like cookies. How can I get cookies all the time?
My mom said I can't actually be the cookie monster, so
I will just be a baker.
Thing.
You know what's funny is my wife's nephew. He's my nephew, but our nephew. They did the same thing. What do you want to be when you grow up? And then the teacher took pictures of everybody and put them in a line, this whole collage.
Yep.
And this kid's hilarious, Max. He's a little weirdo. So it goes teacher, doctor, baseball player, doctor. And then it goes to him, bounty hunter.
Oh, yeah.
He wants to be a bounty because he's a huge Boba Fett fan. Boba Fett's his guy. Yeah. Went out as Halloween as Boba Fett. Wants to be a bounty hunter. Hilarious.
Well, I love this kid.
Yeah, he's dope.
I love this
kid.
He's
super dope. And he's got a great sense of humor.
You know what? That's funny. My daughters are right around that age where they've done those things. I just saw one last year, and it was similar. It was doctor, teacher, and then it was Batman.
Idiot kid.
Good luck.
Good luck, buddy.
Good luck.
Did you see the movie?
Did you, so before we were recording, you were telling me about, Some clothes, some materials, some costumes.
Well, yeah, that was the thing. Like, so like I think I'm a pretty guy's guy. You know, like I like sports a lot. I'm a big sports head. I build stuff. Like I have a wood shop. I build stuff, but
nice.
I'm also pretty feminine because I grew up, you know, in a house. There's just women everywhere. So I've like been going to fabric stores since I was a kid, and like me and my brother both like love fashion. Like we're both super into fashion. Like I was like, there's like a couple of men's boutiques I went to last night in Minneapolis, and I was like, bro, texting my brother, I'm like, you got to check out this place. We'd be here all the time. And he's like, what is it? Just straight clothes? I'm like, dude, furniture, clothes, facial stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
really?
Yeah. I mean, he's into that way more than I am. The face, like soaps. There's one soap that I like that I'll pay $8 a bar for because I just love the scent of it.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, I literally wash my face. I don't wash my face in the morning. I take a shower, and that's when I wash my face.
Yeah.
But like, he's into like, you know, he takes care of himself. You know what I mean? He's got creams and shit like
Exfoliate.
that. Yeah, he does all that stuff. But like, we're both into like, I remember like these boots I just got, Wolverines. I loved them. So I texted my brother. I'm like, what do you think of these new boots, bro? And he just sends me back. I send him a picture. He sends back a pic where he's holding them up in his closet, and they're like worn. And he's like, had them for 4 years, bro.
Oh.
And I was like, this son of a bitch. He's also doing a lot better than I am.
Oh,
you know what I mean? And has been for a while. You know, I'm catching up, but.
What's he do?
He's a graphic designer.
Oh, okay.
But like, you know, he does like Beyonce's album.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So like when I was doing my album, like, yo, man, you think you could do my album? And he's
can't
like,
afford
bro,
me, man.
he's like, I know I can't. He's like, listen, man, I'm working on Beyonce's album. I don't know how much time I have. And I'm like, all right, I get it. And then 2 months later, like I'm getting closer. I'm like, so what do you think? You can do that album? He's like, just send me what you need. And I send it to him, and like literally a day later, he sends something back, and I'm like, "This is the best, dude. Done."
Oh,
you know?
nice.
Yeah, he's awesome. You just got to press him a little bit. You got to press him.
I bet he spent more time on Beyonce's though.
I'm sure, bro. I'm sure he did.
What if he would just would?
Are you a gamer?
Yeah.
Do you know the NBA 2K12 series with the Magic Johnson, the Bird, and my brother did all those covers?
Oh no shit.
Yeah, and then he did like the NBA 2K12 MLB one with Justin Verlander.
Yeah.
So I'm at home. My brother's not a sports fan at all. Okay. So one morning he's in Boston, I'm in LA. I get a text message from my brother, and it's just Justin Verlander sitting on his kitchen counter, and I'm like, "What the? Where are you?" And he goes, "I'm at Justin Verlander's house." I'm like, "Why, dude?" And he's like, we're doing the NBA MLB 2K12. And I go, do you realize who that is, dude? I go, that's like the best pitcher in the world right now.
Yeah.
This was 2 years ago, you know.
They'd probably just won 20-some games that year.
He did. He won the Cy Young, and, you know, his ERA, he struck out like 200, you know. I think he maybe won the Triple Crown for pitching that year. I can't remember. But anyway, yeah, he's pretty kick-ass at what he does.
What if I'm just picturing, like, I don't know what Beyonce's album cover looks like. I imagine it's her.
Yeah.
Is it like her with like her legs spread? Or
no, but her arms, she's like her hands are out and stuff. But he did all the packaging.
What if you would have sent yours back with you in that same position?
That would have been tight, dude. Jayonce?
Where'd you come up with this?
Dude, good idea here. Where are you going with this? Yeah, that would have been cool.
I like it. So, you're happy about the World Series, obviously.
Yeah, I was very happy.
Yeah.
I was in Hawaii at the time, so my wife watched both Game 5 and 6 with me at the bar. It's pretty tight.
Did you find any Red Sox fans in Hawaii?
Yeah, Game 5 there were, but Game 6 it was just me and my wife. She's either way. She just roots for whatever teams I want her to.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty awesome, man. I mean, it was just an awesome season.
Drunken phone calls back to your buddies back home?
Nah.
Nothing?
We're older now. It's like, and we've been kind of spoiled, you know, like as Boston sports fans, you know, since 2001, we've won every single title.
Yeah, no kidding.
Baseball 3 times, football 3 times, basketball, hockey, and for you soccer fans, we won the MLS too. So we've got a lot, you know, like, and I'm not like a selfish sports fan. We got ours. If we had lost this year, I would have been bummed, but you know, I was like, oh, listen, we got ours, you know, but this is a special team. I like this team. And I like sports in general, and I like a good story, you know what I mean? I didn't find anything like attractive or compassionate or inspirational about that St. Louis team. You know, there was nothing that like you were like could attach yourself to.
No.
You know, I actually wanted the Dodgers. I thought that would have been a great story.
Me too.
You know, I love the story. That's why, like, people are like, are you a Red Sox fan? I'm like, I'm an everything Boston fan. So anyone Boston's playing, I'm going to root for. I'll root for Boston.
Yeah.
But then I have like other like I like following the season in sports, and seeing what stories pop up. Like, who's this guy? Oh, this guy lost his wife 2 years ago, and he's 34 and just made the big. You know what I mean? I love following a story. And outside of being a Red Sox fan, it was a great story with that team. A lot of cool guys, and the way they put that team together was cool.
And the beards.
Yeah, the beards is cool. And this fact, I used to hate Johnny Gomes. I hated him on every team.
I'm glad you brought him up.
Yeah,
I was asking somebody. I was shocked he was still in Major League Baseball.
I know.
The fact that he was playing in all these World Series games.
Yeah, and then the more I got to watch him, so I got to root for him because he's a Red Sox. I mean, I hated Bobby Valentin. I hated him. I was
for good reason.
God. Yeah, but even with the signing happened, I was like, no, why?
Yeah.
And Johnny Gomes, I was like, ugh. But then I started reading, and I'm like, wow, this guy's actually just a really passionate guy, and he's like that guy that you're like, I don't want to play against him, but I'd love to play with him, know? And I don't think he's like a total D. I think he's did you hear what he did at the parade? The parade was pretty cool.
No.
He, they stopped at where the finish line of the Boston Marathon was, and they sang God Bless America there.
Okay.
And he got off the boat with the World Series trophy, went to the finish line, put the trophy down, and then Saltamacchia went with him, and then other people, and they all stood and huddled. And he said, it was just I was just overtaken. It was,
wow.
I
didn't know that.
He made a real point, when he comes to a city, oh, this is going to be my city, and I like that. For me, when I come to a city like Minneapolis, I don't want to stay outside of the city. I want to be in the city. I went this morning to get my coffee shop. I start talking to people at the coffee shop. I want to feel like I live here and be a part of it while I'm here, And I think he really embraced that, so...
Are you? So you're gonna go back and do some shopping here before you leave?
Yeah, of course. I'll try to. I was on my walk here. I was like, all right, what's my budget? I also like I like dinnerware, like plates and bowls and glasses and stuff. So I found a store that has sick bowls and towels. I'm like, dude, what's up with these towels, man? He's like, these are nice towels. And I'm like, where are these from? And he's like, they're Japanese. And I'm like, oh, man, they're small. I go, Japanese people are small people, huh? But we got a baby on the way, so I'm like, maybe I'll just get one for the baby or a couple for the baby. You know what I mean? Just because they're super soft and super nice. And they had some cool... Yeah, I was in Hawaii, and the only thing I bought to take home were these 4 glasses that I found. I'm like, ooh, these are nice.
Antique shops? Do you go to antique shops?
All the time, dude. Yeah. My dad's an antique dealer.
Oh, really?
So we don't have a real good relationship. I've seen him once since I was 12. I've seen him one time.
Wow.
And that was 4 years ago. But he's an antique dealer, and it's I don't like to... I like holding a grudge because I like having a chip on my shoulder. I think everyone should because it drives me, no matter what you're trying to do. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
But... I also like to embrace the things that I don't have a connection with. So, even though I don't have a connection with him, I like to embrace the fact that I am part of him or he's still part of me.
Yeah.
And I love antiques, and I think a lot of that, some of his sense of humor, too, I probably get. I didn't mention earlier, but... So, yeah, I love antique shops. I love going in there. And, my friends love going with me because I have some knowledge, you know what I mean? Yeah. And my buddy still... When we were in college, me and my buddy Eddie, we went to Nantucket with these girls... These girls were like, my aunt has a house in Nantucket, We're like, oh, yeah? And they're like, yeah, do you guys want to come? Me and Eddie were like, hell yeah, we want to go.
Yeah.
And we had thrown this keg party on campus, so we got, they were going to kick us off campus, and we just ended up doing community service, and everyone else did their community service except me. So last day of school, I had to do community service till, 3 o'clock. And then I lived, an hour from school, so we packed up. This was, end of the year.
Yeah.
Drove to my house, got to my house. I called my buddy Anthony. I'm like, hey, I'm going to Nantucket. And he knew more about this kind of stuff. And I was like, do you want to come? He's like, no, I can't go. I'm like, we got a house, everything. And he's like, nah, I can't do it. I'm like, well, we're taking off. We're going to go get subs. You want to meet us for subs? And then we're going to go. And he goes, well, what time's your ferry? And I'm like, I think it's 8. And he's like, dude, you got to leave now, man, or you're not going to make it. And I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah. So we screw to... Woods Hole to get the ferry or wherever, and we just made it. Anyway, what was the point? What were we talking about?
Antiques.
Oh, yeah, so we go to this antique store on Nantucket one day, and this woman's, giving us, a little bit of tood, you know what I mean? Because she obviously thinks we don't belong there.
Yeah, you're going to steal something or break it.
Yeah, and I go, what can you tell me about this rose medallion? And she's like, oh... couldn't believe that I knew about Rose Medallion. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know, though. I feel like in some of the older Rose Medallions, especially on the back, I go, what year is this? You know what I mean? And this lady just totally didn't know what to say. So my buddy will still, I put a picture up on Instagram the other day, and he goes, is that Rose Medallion? So yeah, I like antique shops.
It'll never end.
No, and I like having, like I said, I like a baseball story or a sports story. I like having items in my house that have a story behind them. You know what I mean? You buy something at IKEA or at a chain that everyone else in the world has the same damn thing. It's just this. I mean, it might be cool design. I do buy stuff like that, of course. But I also like having little pieces that's like, oh yeah, I don't know. I got that from a shop in Minneapolis. This little, whatever,
I don't know what you'll think of this, but I have something that has a great story behind it, and I don't even know if the autographs are legit, but I don't care because it brings back such a great memory for me as a baseball fan and from childhood. It's a picture from the 1986 World Series.
Oh, no.
Yeah, with the ball had just gone past Bill
your
Buckner.
Mouth, dude.
And Mookie's just about to, go into first base, and they both have signed it. I don't even know if the autographs are real. I bought it at a card show. The guy told me he got it.
How much you pay for it?
He got it at some auction, so he wasn't even sure of the history of it, but $60-$80 or something.
I mean, if those are legit, I'm guessing that's worth way more than that.
I think so.
That's random.
The frame was pretty shitty, but the pictures.
Who cares? Just the idea. I mean, you could get Mookie to sign that for sure, but getting Buckner to sign that?
And it's different colors and everything, so it makes me believe, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going with it. It's real, and even if it's not, I love the fact that I love the story, like even behind that. Like,
that killed me.
Yeah,
that
I'm sure.
Killed me when I was a kid too. I was like, this is it, and like we kind of had an idea. I remember, just to give you this real quick, when I don't know if you remember, but the way we won the ALCS that year is Dave Henderson hit a home run. Yeah, so we were like, that was a Sunday, and we had to get to church. We went to church every Sunday.
Yeah.
And we were late for church, like we're sitting, like, huddled up watching this game. My mom was a big baseball fan. So we're watching this game. He hits the home run. We bolt to church. We're late. Everyone's late. They don't even start the Mass. You know what I mean? So we're like 15 minutes late. Mass hasn't started. Then the priest walks down, gets to the altar. First thing he says, he goes, "Is this the year?" You know what I mean? It's pretty cool. That's like Boston in a nutshell.
Yeah.
They're like, "Is this it? Before we get to the Lord, is this the year we win the World Series?"
Let's say our thanks to Dave Henderson.
Yeah.
And his strong bat.
God bless Donnie Moore, who later killed himself.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
That's
yeah.
Right. Rest in peace, Donnie
tough
Moore.
Tough call. Happens. I mean, it's too bad. And I felt Bill Buckner, man, that, he suffered a lot for that one play. Mm-hmm. Guy should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he had a great
His numbers
career.
are better than Don Mattingly's. Everyone's like, why isn't Don Mattingly? Bill Buckner has better numbers than he does, and no one's talking about getting him in the Hall of Fame. Whatever.
Fucking Mattingly.
I like Mattingly. He's my favorite player growing up. I still don't think he has Hall of Fame numbers. Yeah. You know what I mean? He literally, I have more Don Mattingly baseball cards than I do any other player.
Just going to ask you, I bet you have his rookie card. 1985
I don't
tops,
have his rookie.
or 84
no.
tops?
I think it was 83.
83?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a good card to have. He was a stud. But I didn't get, I didn't start collecting. I was younger. I mean, I didn't start collecting till like that 86 tops year. You remember with like the block of black up top with the block letters. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was the year I started collecting, so I didn't have a Mattingly rookie, but
I want to go back to, this popped into my head about some of these stores that I bet that you're probably going into downtown Minneapolis here.
Mm-hmm.
There's one that I used to walk by, and I'm not, I work in radio.
Yeah.
This, and like, a lot of the clothes I get is free.
Of course.
Quite a bit of it.
I know the deal.
This sweatshirt I got free.
Yeah.
The T-shirt I have underneath.
Free.
It's from somebody I met in the FBI. That was also free. That's just how it works out. But I have a bit of an eye for stuff like that. Shoes are my thing. Actually.
Okay, yeah.
I like shoes. And but there's a store downtown Minneapolis that I used to walk by and look in the window and be like, "Fuck these! Oh my god! Like those, like the pants or like the shirts would get me excited." Finally, one day I had a little bit extra time to kill because I was walking to work, walked in there, and then looked at the price tag.
Ridiculous,
the pants were $150.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
No.
I've never been in a place like this before.
Yeah, no kidding.
And it was going to be a long time before I ever am again.
Dude, I go into some stores and like, shirts are $250 for a button down. And I'm like, whoa. I mean, I don't roll like that. But then I know that there are, like sometimes, like I'll get like Esquire or magazine, and like they'll be like, oh, like they break down someone's outfit, and then you find out like a shirt's $1,800. You're like, what the fuck? It's crazy what some people will pay, or people will charge. What is that shirt made out of?
The shirt's more expensive than the machine used to clean it.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense.
No sense.
Is Tom Brady and the Patriots going to go to the Super Bowl this year?
I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. I think it's a great team. I like that they I love that they have a strong record and they haven't even their offense just started clicking last week against Pittsburgh. That was the first time Brady had like a Brady type game, and we've still been winning games. The D's been solid.
Well,
running game is back.
I'd like to take personal responsibility for Brady having that incredible game this past Sunday because fantasy football was after having all these shit weeks in a row by Tom Brady, who I had all my faith in and had him on my fantasy team for several years. 2 shit weeks in a row with Andy Dalton on my team not playing. I was like, nope, I'm done. I'm not making this mistake again. Somebody can have Tom Brady. I'll trade him.
You did it too.
I benched him. Yeah.
Ooh, at least you didn't get rid of him.
I benched him the week he went on fire, so you're welcome.
Well, thanks.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. We'll see what happens. It's a shame. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to be straight up with you, Minneapolis folk and Minnesota. When Adrian Peterson said he was going to run for 2,000 yards again, I was like, dude, what are you? Just shut your mouth.
No kidding.
Just chill out and go out there and just play hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'd never take something as sacred as 2,000 yards and be like, yeah, I can just do that again. I don't know why these dudes. Chris Johnson said the same damn thing, didn't he?
Yeah, they all have.
Yeah, but it's stupid. I mean, AP, you're almost like, yeah, he probably could. Because that guy's such a stud. But it's a shame what's going on with that damn team.
Yeah, I don't even. It's that thing.
I'll be honest. I think Josh Freeman's the guy. They just need to figure. They have to give him some time. They threw him into the Wolves' den.
Yeah, well, maybe that time will be the off season.
Yeah, maybe
we'll figure it out.
Maybe
I don't know.
They need to draft someone or do something.
At this point, as far as that team goes, nothing.
Yeah.
As far as this season goes, nothing matters. We're saying goodbye to the glorious Metrodome. So
yeah, I know. I kind of am stoked about that. But you're going to play at UM for like 2 years, right?
Yeah, 2 or 3. Yeah.
Oof.
I know.
What's the attendance there? 30,000?
40, 35, 40. Yeah, it's not as big as the Metrodome. But it gets like 65.
Are they going to rip that thing down?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, I went by it last time I was here.
Yeah, it's a fucking dump.
Yeah, man.
Good riddance.
I met a guy in L.A., though. There's a bar, my buddy Tony Jones, who I mentioned, who's a Minnesota fan. I would go sometimes and watch Minnesota games because there'd always be Minnesota fans. They have their own section, you know? Like, they do the chants and stuff. And there was this one guy, and Tony's like, dude, you got to talk to this guy. And I'm like, why? He goes, he used to work at the Metrodome. And I'm like, okay, you know? And the guy comes over, and we just start talking. He used to go on the roof and bounce around up there. Like, you can jump
to get the snow off?
No, dude, just to freaking get high, probably.
What?
Yeah, and he would run and jump because it's got bounce to it.
Yeah.
And he would bounce. He said, you got to look out because there are these big spikes up there, but he would just bounce around and be on top of the Metrodome, on top of it. I'm like, dude, that's the coolest.
That's the best trampoline. That's the coolest trampoline ever.
And how are you not dead?
No shit.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, the same place. I wonder where he was when the storm friggin' put a hole in it.
He was in L.A. But, and I'll give you this one too, Tony Jones one time ran through center field during the Twins game and told Kirby Puckett he loved him.
Aww.
And then he got arrested, and he said he went to jail. They took him in. They put him in custody in the stadium, and a state trooper showed up and like, take those handcuffs off him. This is ridiculous. Yeah. State trooper like takes him to the car, and he's like, so where you headed? And he's like, what do you mean? And he goes, well, your buddies are probably going out for drinks or something, right? And he's like, yeah. He goes, I'll drop you off. Where are you meeting him?
Nice.
So when he went to court, the judge is like looking over his sheets, you know, like looking at the sheets and then looking at my buddy Tony. And he just goes, did you really tell Kirby Puckett you loved him? And he goes, yes, I did, Your Honor. And he goes, you got $100? And he's like, yeah. He's like, $100.
Nice.
Yeah, it's tight.
Nice.
That, you know, like I said, that pre-story wrapped up Boston to me. That kind of, I don't know Minneapolis and Minnesota as well, but that kind of wrapped it up for me. Having that guy just let him off for $100 because he told Kirby he loved him.
Yeah, no shit. That's awesome. Pretty laid back. That's good. That's good.
Cool.
Plus, Kirby was like a freaking superhero.
Yeah, man.
So.
Kirby Puckett, Kent Hrbek. I love that team.
Yeah.
Was Tommy Herr and you guys at that point? Did he play with you? He was St. Louis.
He was not on a World Series team. No.
Okay.
No.
But you had him at some point.
Yeah.
You had who was Steve Bedrosian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was on the World Series team in 88.
Yeah, I remember.
87? Yeah.
And then what's
Bedrock.
his face? Yeah, and who's the
nickname.
dude that went 10 innings for you guys? Was that 10?
Black Jack
Morris. Not in the Hall of Fame.
Not in the Hall
Correct.
of Fame. Another guy from St. Paul, just like me and Nick Swartzen, your buddy.
Wow, 40, yep.
Yeah.
That's
St. Paul
awesome.
produces them all. Dave Winfield.
Dave Winfield, drafted in 4 sports.
Come on
now.
Paul Molitor.
Paul Molitor. He was on that.
No, but he's from St. Paul and did play for the Twins.
He did, and the Brewers. 3,000 hits.
That's right.
Also made All-Star 2 positions.
Yeah,
dude, I'm throwing it out. I'll give it all to you.
You should come back. You know what you should do? Schedule your week here next week when the All-Star game is here.
Yeah, I'll make sure to do that.
Yeah, come on.
When is it? Oh, the All-Star game's
down the street here, Target Field.
Oh man, that's tight. That stadium is dope.
Yeah.
Dope. I loved it. Anything I love that you're in the middle of the city, and I love that you're on top of the game. It's like tight in there. It's nice. You know, it's roomy, and people are not. Oh man, I had so much fun when I went there. I went there for 2 innings, ate a hot dog and a beer, watched the game, and left. And I loved every minute of it.
Did you have to work? Why'd you leave?
Yeah, I had a show that night, but I literally am like, I got there, and I think the 6th. Bought a hot dog and a beer, stood in right field, about 10 rows. I didn't even go to my seats. I just stood. Yeah. I just wanted to take in a little bit of the game, you know. Hopped back on the rail, took the rail back to my hotel, chilled, and then went to my other show.
Nice.
Yeah, it was cool.
Nice. How much time we got? Okay. I want to ask you a couple more questions.
One
more thing about your podcast. So you're up like 70, you're like 70, 80 some episodes, right? Did I see that correctly?
Yeah. We're just launched 77, Ray Bork.
Yeah.
Bill Burr. I don't know if he knows that, but he's the Ray Bork of, you remember that game? Bork used to wear number 7, and then they retired, was that Phil Esposito? I can't remember who 7 was.
Oh, and they gave him double 7.
Well, they didn't give it to him. He chose it. And that night at the Garden, he pulled off the 7 and had the 77 underneath. The place went nuts, bro.
That's right.
And then this kid, Joe Hyde, comes into school the next day. He was at the game rocking a Bork 77 jersey. And I remember being like, God damn, that's so cool.
Oh.
Joe Hyde. Of course, he's got a dad, that fucking asshole.
Who bought that for you? Your dad?
Fucking dad. What, you got a dad, you loser? Yeah.
All the cool kids just have moms.
Yeah, no kidding.
You just didn't know that.
Bastard.
That's funny. How often? So, like the one I was listening to with Bill Burr, you had recorded that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
is that common? How often Well,
we have to, man, because I'm on the road and Ryan will be on the road, and it's like we are pretty loyal to our fans and want our episode to come out every Tuesday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they look forward to it. So it's like we got to pre-record sometimes. You know, you can't go live because it's just trying to get 3 people who travel schedule to match up. It's impossible.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's impossible. So we have to pre-record
sometimes. How far
sometimes.
Have you work ahead? You have like 2, 3, 4, 10 sitting there ready
this
to
week
go?
is Bird. No. We try to sometimes. Like we'd like to like relax sometimes and take time off because, you know, you're lucky, man. It's just whoever's going to be here, you get to get them. But like for us, it's like, all right, man, who are we going to get? And we want to get interesting people, and we want to get people that are storytellers, and then, you know, we have to like kind of bounce around. So we have pre-recorded. Next week's episode is already set, and then we'll record one next week for the following week, and then we have one booked next week for 2 weeks out.
Oh, wow.
So November is set, but then we want to jam on December so we can relax during the holidays and not have to fret and not have to worry about, because then everyone else's schedules are all over the holiday. You know, it's like you don't want to put anyone in that position. So yeah, we have to do that sometimes, but it's worth it. You know, we're not doing topical stuff usually. You know, Burr just kind of went on some rants. You know what I mean?
God, it was good,
as he often does.
Yeah. Oh, that shit was very, very funny.
Yeah.
We're getting to that time where I have my set of questions.
Oh, cool, man!
That I am not going to read. I'm going to hand these over to you.
Okay, and then I'm going to read them to you?
No, you're going to read them to yourself.
No,
basically.
I know. But will I read them out loud to myself?
Yeah, read them out loud. If you don't want to answer it, skip one.
Okay.
Some go, well, you'll see.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Hand it to me. How many we got? If we're going right from the top of the page?
Yeah, you know, we won't have to get to all of them or, you know, whatever.
What is the best racist joke you know? I'm not a big street joke guy, but I do like this joke. It's a Jewish dad. A daughter comes to his Jewish dad and is like, Dad, can I get $50? And he goes, 50? He goes... She goes, Dad, can I get $50? And he goes, $40? What do you need $20 for? I like that. What's the most awkward time you popped a boner? I don't really remember. I'm sure every single day in middle school, probably, but never any. I used to embrace boners. I never really got embarrassed by them. Have you ever faked an orgasm when you were too tired or drunk to get there? Never in my life. I never was too drunk or tired to go all the way.
Amen, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What is the one thing everyone should do before they die? I don't know. Whatever you want. not enough people. I think everyone kind of holds back of what they want to do with their life, and then they don't do the things they want because they're afraid to do them. Just do whatever you want to do. If you made an adult film, what would its title be? No idea, but I'll tell you my porn name.
Go for it.
Billy Oak.
Billy Oak.
Middle name William. Billy. Grew up on Oak Street.
Nice.
That's tight, bro. I could star in any film I want with that name. What's the most someone should pay for a quarter ounce of weed? A quarter, huh? I mean, I love that we're in Minnesota. You're dealing with quarters. We're dealing eighths in L.A., and an eighth in L.A. you can get is 60. Sometimes you can find them for 50 if you know a guy. So that'd be like 100 for a quarter. So I'd say the most you should pay for a quarter, if it's like supposed to be the best of all time, I'd pay $2.20 for a quarter if someone told me, dude, this is a strand you've never even heard of, just for the idea of being like, because I'm always like, I'll pay a little more for something if someone tells me, and that's a lot more, tells me it's the best you'll ever have, just to find out, is it the best you'll ever have? I wouldn't pay it twice. If you had to spend the rest of your life with the first person you had sex with, what do you think your life would be like now? I think it'd be pretty awesome. It was my high school sweetheart. I was crazy in love with her.
Yeah.
She was gorgeous, super sweet. She's married now, lives in Chicago. We dated for 7 years, though. So it was a long time, and I was an idiot. So if I could go back and do it again and be like a better person, I would love to have that chance.
Wow.
I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, I have a great wife and a great life, but I'm saying if I had to and I had to answer a question on a podcast, they were holding a gun to my head, I'd say, yeah, I bet it'd be pretty dope. I don't think I would have been. I have fantasies. So as a comedian, you know what I mean? We took a chance to do something kind of crazy, whereas everyone else, 99% of the world doesn't. They just live normal lives,
Yeah.
But for me, my fantasy is a normal life. You know what I mean? Like when I come to cities, I'm like, oh my God, people are at happy hour. What are they at happy hour for? I'm like, oh, they just work 9 to 5. I'm like, God, I'd love to work 9 to 5. You know what I mean? So I used to picture my life with her. I'd be like, we're going to be 24. We'll have 2 kids, little house, like a little 2-bedroom house with a white fence. I used to see myself coming home in a suit with a briefcase and greeting her.
What job would you have been coming home from?
Well, my wife, I said that to her the other day. I'm like, what would you do if you weren't doing what you're doing? And I think if I could do other jobs, I'd be a teacher for sure. Yeah. I love kids, and I think teachers, they're the most influential people I ever had in my life. Yeah. And they're so underappreciated. A fireman, a lawyer. Those are like the 3 things.
Or Batman.
Yeah, or Batman. What's the most embarrassing thing What's the most embarrassing thing when you've done... Oh, I got it. Hold on. What's the most embarrassing thing you've done when you thought you were alone but weren't? Dude, every day of my life. I walk around talking to myself daily. I've never really... I don't get embarrassed that much just because I enjoy it. I rather embrace it, so I don't really have one.
That's good.
Yeah. I mean, I like getting embarrassed, you know what I mean? It's like brings you back down, and I'll try and find a joke in it. What is something the opposite sex should stop doing? Just stop with my wife does it all the time. It's like, just do it. Don't ask me about it. Just do it. You know what I mean? More so that she's pregnant. You know what I mean? She likes all the time. It's like she's more feminine or female than she's ever been.
When's the baby due, by the way?
In March 1.
Congratulations.
Thanks. What is something other than drugs that you have or are addicted to? Food, spending money, or cigarettes is a drug. I don't care what anyone says. That's a drug.
Yeah.
I'm addicted to those. I quit, but I'm still, if I start tomorrow.
Yeah.
So those. Just basic stuff. I think if you have an addictive personality, you're addicted to a lot of things. You just don't know it. And people don't think, you can't be addicted to food. Yeah, you can. I eat food. Last night, I ate at the club. And then I went to some bar and had nuts in a cocktail. And then I said to the guy, I'm like, yo, man, where can I get something to eat? And he's like, oh, you got to go to this place, 112 Eatery. I'm like, all right. Went there, ordered 3 things. 3 things. Just because I'm like, well, that looks amazing. So does that.
Yeah.
I want to try these things. So I did.
You're only here for the week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How much would your friends' opinions of you change if they knew what you masturbated to? My friends know. And they think it's hilarious. They think it's the funniest thing of all time. They lose their mind. And I always tell them I'll set it up for them. And, I work clean on stage. I don't swear or anything. Yeah. And so my one buddy's like, Jesus Christ, Larson, if you ever told this stuff on... people would probably lose their mind.
Perfect.
Which TV show do you hate that everyone seems to love? I don't watch enough to hate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know that some like I watch and I'm like 2.5 Men. I'm like, I just don't get it. I don't know what's happening that everyone's so into this.
Yeah, me neither.
And like Big Bang Theory, my
Same
mother
thing.
loves. I just don't. It's just not my brand. You know, it's not
Me
what I
neither.
want to do.
Don't get it.
And I'm making a TV show right now, so I look at like I know because like I'm writing a show, and so the network will tell you kind of like what they want, or like people try and push you in a direction. And you're like, oh my god, I don't. This is literally what my voice turns into. I'm like, I don't want to do that. That's not what I want. That's not what I want. And you have to like find that fine line of keeping your integrity and your edge, and making something that can relate to like most people. You know.
How much more can you say about this
I can say anything you want.
project?
Yeah, I can say anything.
So how far you?
It's with Fox.
It's with Fox.
It's a show for my, hopefully for myself. That hasn't been discussed, but that's pretty much. It's in my voice. It's about me.
Yeah.
It's a sitcom. You know, it's what I've always wanted. I grew up. Three's Company was like my jam. I'm like, dude, that's who I want to be, man. I want to be John Ritter.
Jack Tripper.
Yeah, Jack Tripper, bro.
Nice.
I wanted Larry as a best friend. I just wanted the whole deal. Furley. I could get along with Furley.
What was the name of the lounge that Larry?
The Regal Beagle.
The Regal Beagle.
Yeah, man. I always wanted to get down with Chrissy. I'm like, God damn, Chrissy. Who was your favorite Chrissy? Do you remember?
The first one.
Suzanne Summers?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she was so hot. But there were 3 of them, right? Second one wasn't bad either. She was a little more intelligent. She was more like on the brainy side, and she like more vulnerable in a way, you know?
I think that's how they wrote her in.
Yeah. What is your
Be
go-to?
more vulnerable.
Can you be more vulnerable? What is your go-to porn video? I don't really have one, you know what I mean? Because the internet's so vast. But I'll tell you the one we had growing up.
Well, what site, by the way?
Well, I don't try to go as much as I used to, but like RedTube, I guess.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, I'm sure you have. But we had one growing up called The Hunt for Pink October.
No.
And there was a chick on there that I was like, that's my girl. Like, she was gorgeous, and her body was amazing. And I'm like, that. If that was going to do a porn, that would be the chick. That was my fantasy porn girl.
We had one that we passed around the buddies. Robin Head was the name of it.
Robin Head.
Robin
Nice,
Head.
bro. My college girlfriend one time found it. She goes, you mean you're going to go find The Hunt for Pink October? And I was like, I started dying laughing. What's the worst concert you've ever attended? I haven't been to many. You know, I'm not like, I honestly, when I go to comedy shows and I see people, I'm like, what are these people doing here? Like, how do they motivate to get out? You know, my motivation is to go to antique stores and to cook at home and to build stuff, you know? So like anytime I've gone to a concert, it's because someone else planned it and I went.
Oh, wow.
But I saw Vampire Weekend like a month ago. And I just wasn't, I liked them, and they sounded exactly like their album sound. And I just said to my wife, I'm like, I just wasn't, it was at the Hollywood Bowl, which is an amazing place to see a concert. And I was like, I just wasn't, there was no show. I was expecting a show,
Yeah.
you know? I'm like, if I got on stage and did my jokes word for word from the album and stood in place and just stood there and did the jokes, I wouldn't think that was a fun experience. I think when you go to a comedy club, the whole point is to see interaction, have a personal show, whereas like I just didn't feel it was a personal show. That's from my standpoint. It was people like, but they sounded just like they did, like, which is awesome, you know, that they weren't enhanced. And I'm like, yeah, that was awesome. I give them credit for that because I'd rather give credit than take credit away.
Sure.
What's the stupidest purchase you ever made? I bought this wallet for my buddy one time. This is the kind of guy I am. I buy my friends wallets, and it was stainless steel. It was super fresh.
Yeah.
But you would never, can't put it in your back pocket. It's going to just,
You can't sit on it.
Yeah. So I gave him this wallet. It cost me like $180. He was a really good friend of mine, my best friend I've ever had. And it just sat in his drawer for like 2 years. And then we were moving, and I was like, dude, man, you ever going to use that wallet? And he's like, dude, I just don't think I can use it. I'm like, he goes, you want it back? And I'm like, yeah, I'll take it back. And then I was going to return it and then try and get him something else. And it was like past the return date. And I don't think the shop was there anymore. It was like some boutique.
Things remembered.
I still have this goddamn wallet because I can't get rid of it because no one wants it, one. And two, it's like I'm going to be like, I'm throwing out $180. At this point, I've had it like now 7 or 8 years. You know what I mean?
You know what you do now?
Stupid.
You put it on eBay and write the story behind it.
And no one's going to care?
No. You're who you are.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
we'll see. Maybe I will.
You know, have you ever sold anything on eBay?
No, I've bought off eBay.
Okay,
though.
well, you write up the little, you write the description.
Yeah.
You put that story in. Here's the deal. I bought this for my friend. He didn't want it. Sat in a drawer. And I don't know what to do with it.
Then people are like, yeah, well, why am I going to want it? His best friend didn't even want it.
Maybe that adds to it.
Either way, we could have back then. We could have gone out for like an insane dinner and drinks, and still had $50 to get him something, and I didn't.
Nice.
So it was a bad purchase.
What else? What else is coming up?
I shot a show for Esquire. You guys can watch. I think it's coming out in December, called Best Bars in America, where I go to like some of the best bars with another comedian, Sean Patton, who's been here. Yeah.
Sean Patton?
Yeah, so me and Patton.
Get out of here.
We cruised around Milwaukee and Chicago and San Francisco and went to like some insane bars.
When did you record that?
We did that, I don't know, like maybe a month ago. So that's coming out on the Esquire Network, which is now took over Style Channel.
Okay.
So Esquire Network, that's coming out. They had originally said November 18th, but now I think it's going to be in December. It's an hour special. So that's coming out.
I assume you guys are drinking throughout?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're drinking. And, learning about booze. I worked as a bartender for a long time, so. And then, you can check out my podcast, The Crab Feast. Go to thecrabfeast.com. It comes out every Tuesday with myself and Ryan Sickler. And other than that, follow me on Twitter, J. Larson Comedy, J. Larson Comedy on Instagram. And then I don't know when that Fox, the way the television business works is they like an idea of yours, then they want you to write a different one.
Yeah.
And then you do, and then they have you change that, and then you do, and then you change that, and then you do, and then you change that, and then like, all right, we like this. And then you're like, I don't even know what this is. And hopefully this time next year it's on the air. So.
This is the closest you've been to something like this, though?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, they've already bought the show. The show wasn't even written, and they bought it. So that's a pretty good thing. Like, I had done shorts for Fox, that I wrote, I directed, I starred in, and we had like a full budget, full crew, and they really liked them, and then they read my script, and I actually sold the script to NBC Universal as a blind script. They're like, we love this script. And I'm like, awesome. They're like, can you write another one? And I was like, what's wrong with this one?
You like this one?
And so then they went to Fox and were like, because I had the deal with Fox, and Fox could like match any offer, and then Fox was like, we don't want to match it. We just want to be involved. We want to be the network attached to it. So like, all right, done. So it's sold. So now hopefully once I get the outline done and then I get the script done, then they're hopefully going to be like, yeah, let's make a pilot. And then we'll make a good pilot. And then hopefully they'll be like, yeah, let's make a TV show.
Nice. Now, okay, well, I got one last question about that.
Yeah,
if you could place it behind a show that's currently on Fox, like as the lead-in, what would it be? Do you have any idea?
What's on Fox?
Really?
Well, like, there's the new girl. My show's a little different than, Fox tends. They're like, if you watch their shows, it's all very clean, and I don't mean the tone of the show. I mean the look. Everything's like hyper real. You know what I mean? Like you watch Louie, right? And it's dirty, it's gritty. You know what I mean? But you watch Fox, it's hyper real. Everything is a brand new apartment. Everything is crisp and clean. Their outfits have color. Even the way they advertise, Dad's is like colorful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't want my life isn't hyper real, so I don't want the look to be hyper real. So I don't know like what it would go behind or fill in. I did read this one script that Fox I heard was doing about this family, and the show was called Surviving Jack, and I think it was written for Rob Riggle, but Rob Riggle's not doing it. I guess someone else is doing it, and it was awesome. Like I wanted to write on it. I met with them like, can I write on this? I want to write on this.
Oh, wow.
And so I would love to have that lead in. I mean, the show doesn't even exist.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't give a shit. If they're going to put it on television, take whatever you want. I just want them to give me a chance to get what show I want to make out. If they can give me a chance to make the show that I want to make, then I think I have a good chance of having a show on television, because I think it would resonate with people.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's awesome, man.
Thanks, man.
Good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for doing this. And,
man. Thanks for having me sit down.
Yeah, everybody come out and see you here at Acme. Saturday.
I'm here. When does this come out?
Today.
Oh,
later today.
Love it. Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.